Now the Harrier is, of course, this year's Harrier display pilot is squadron leader Pete Keenley's side.
This, of course, Pete is one of Sir Sidney Cam's other great designs.
That was at Dunsfold, wasn't it, that it first actually, well, the prototype first hovered, the Hawker P1127?
Yes, it was.
The Flying Bedstead?
The Flying Bedstead,
Actually changed the runway, I gather, so, because they weren't sure if they could really control it once it started to hover.
And of course, quite unlike other VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, the Harrier, of course, is unique in that it has actually only one engine for vertical takeoff and forward flight, and that's actually achieved, of course, by directing the jet thrust of the Pegasus engine downwards through 4 nozzles. And I have to say to you, lucky old me had the pleasure of flying a GR7, and I can tell you it is an machine to be in the hover at thousands of kilograms weight and then to accelerate to 3/4 of the speed of sound in about 25 seconds, I can tell you, gets your attention. Very bizarre.
Yes, it's typically the bit. I remember when the Harrier first came into service, because it hovered, the idea was, well, let's have helicopter pilots going in there, and there were quite a few accidents in training. This isn't to denigrate helicopter pilots, of course, who have a tough job to do themselves, as they say. You know you could be a good helicopter pilot if you can pat your head while rotating the other hand over your stomach at the same time. But to the extent that the operational conversion unit of the Harriers did earn the nickname within the Air Force of the Martin Baker display team, because there were so many ejections during training.
Absolutely. They do have small puffer ducts on the wingtips and at the very front and rear of the Harrier, and that keeps it stable. In fact, in the hover, this extraordinary...
It looks like fuel sort of leaking from the front of the engine. Don't worry about that. He's actually doing a touch and go landing here now. Let's see if he just kisses the runway. I remember his doing that here at Biggin when we had a wet runway, and that led to some fantastic photographs. I think Bob Franklin doing a few of those. Yes, so when you see it looks like fuel leaking, that's actually galvanized water. Coming in now, I think Pete will make this a full stop off this one. There he goes, a truly impressive demonstration.